What's up, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight, we're going to go over SmackDown for November the 11th, 2022, as the build to WarGames Survivor Series continues. We have seamlessly set up our men's WarGames match, which to me was probably the obvious choice for both men's sides. Also see the return of Sarah Logan and the Viking Raiders. An incredible tag team title match between the Usos and the New Day. The World Cup begins, starts off with two matches from the World Cup, and we saw the first feud for Bray Wyatt seemingly confirmed for hopefully Survivor Series. All that and much, much more. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, the like button, comment down below, follow the social media at Misfit Wrestle TV, on Instagram at Misfit Wrestling Pod, and at Facebook if you want to do that. It's for Wrestling Podcast. SmackDown was a pretty good, enjoyable show. SmackDown's been killing it lately. I don't know why it's been. SmackDown, some nights have been okay, sometimes they haven't. But tonight's show I thought was pretty good. We saw a new number one contender, obviously, for the SmackDown Women's Championship, which is somebody I didn't expect. We have teases for Bobby Roode. I'll talk about Bobby Roode in a little bit. Somewhere near the end of the show, I'll talk about Bobby Roode. We opened the show with the SmackDown Tag Team titles. The Usos defeated the New Day to retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles. They will be going on to become the longest reigning Tag Team titles. The Usos and the New Day kicked off SmackDown with an incredible tag team match, because that's what they do. For the tag team titles, the Usos retained. Obviously, they will become the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions in history. Fun, incredible match, obviously. The Woods and Jey Uso start the action with the bell rings. They lock up. Jey delivers a few shoulder tackles for Xavier. Woods fires back with his own shoulder tackle. Kofi tags in, delivers a high cross body from the top rope. Jimmy tags and delivers a vicious right hand to Kofi. Jimmy then follows it up with a snapmare, but Kingston manages to hit the back elbow, whips him into the corner, and the pair deliver a unicorn stomp that would be Xavier and Kofi, which just looks weird without Big E, but Big E will eventually, hopefully, come back. There's no timetable for him coming back, but hopefully he'll be back soon. They go to break. From there, they come back from the break. Jey Uso tags in, sends Kofi to the outside. He whips Kofi into the barricade, then tosses him back into the ring. Tosses him to the middle rope. Jimmy tags in, then starts stomping on Kofi's arm. He chokes him on the bottom rope. Then delivers a right hand to Kofi's midsection. Kingston then delivers a missile drop kick before Jey tags, and Kofi then starts delivering kicks. Then he looks to make a tag to Xavier, but Jimmy obviously pulls Woods off the apron. They come back from break again. This match was given 30 minutes, so he had a lot of breaks through here. Kofi delivers a knee to Jey Uso. Both men tag in their partners, their opposite partners. Xavier Woods starts delivering a clothesline to Jimmy Uso, followed by another lariat. It's the same move. I don't know. That's what the commentary said, at least. He hits a splash in the corner, followed up by a right hand and the gut buster. Goes for the pin. But Jimmy Uso was able to kick out. Kingston then tags back in, delivers a kick to Jimmy's face, followed by a splash. Jey tags in, delivers a kick to Kingston's midsection. He follows it up with an uppercut, but Kingston pulls out an SOS, goes for the pin. Jey kicks out. Jey then delivers a enziguri before Woods tags in, deliver a headbutt. Jey fires back. The super kick, then tags with Jimmy. Pair starts hitting the double super kicks that they're known for, but before Jay tags back in and his brother delivers a belt. So the Usos then deliver the double splash. Jay goes to the pin. Woods kicks out. Jay tags back in. The pair look for the 1D, but Kofi pulls Jay out of the ring. Kofi and Woods hit a midnight hour before Woods hits Jimmy with the DDT. Tags in Kofi. They hit Jay with the midnight hour of their own. Or on Jay. Kofi, he goes for the pin. Jimmy then breaks that up. The four men they stay down, like the both teams stare each other down. Jay then hits Xavier with a pair of super kicks on the outside. Kingston, or Kofi rather, hits Jimmy with a kick in the ring. Jay tags in. Kofi ascends to the top rope, he comes off flying. But the Usos end up hitting the 1D to retain the tag team titles. Incredible match. These two teams have always put on great matches. No denying that. I'm just glad. It looks like this was a one-off because of what happened later on. I'm actually thrilled that I'm as much as I love the New Day. I'm actually thrilled they're not going to be in WarGames. They don't need to be in WarGames. The team that needs to be in WarGames will set up earlier tonight. Minus two names that I will get to when we get to that. We go back to stage to the Bloodline. The Usos asked Roman Reigns what they thought of the match, and Roman says it says that it's what is being the greatest of all time means. He says that he has business to handle and needs them by his side later tonight. They agree. They do the trio hug with Santos Escobar, not Santos, with Paul Heyman looking in the background all menacing because that's what Paul Heyman does. Next up, we had Nakamura and Santos Escobar in a first round match for the SmackDown World Cup tournament. This was a fun match. These two, I knew we were going to have a good match with each other because it's Nakamura and Santos Escobar. They don't have bad matches rarely. While Santos Escobar is making his entrance, Santos Escobar does the picture-in-picture interview thing, one-on-one talk or whatever. Talks about basically going to do it from Mexico. He's one of Mexico's best and stuff like that. Basically saying he's going to win the whole tournament. Then we hear Michael Cole mention the January 1st, New Year's Day match between Nakamura and Great Buddha at Pro Wrestling Noah. Again, something like that would have never happened under Vince McMahon. The match with Nakamura in Japan at Budokan Hall would have never even been a thing under Vince McMahon. So I'm so glad that they mentioned that. We got to at least promote the match. It is one of your guys wrestling one of the greatest of all time in his retirement tour, which they did bring that up too. This match went about 10 minutes. It was fun for what they got. This was basically help to get establish Escobar as one of the top heels on the roster. Nakamura there to help that out. Match starts. Escobar delivers a drop kick before Nakamura sends him out to the ring. Nakamura hits a knee into Escobar's Santos's midsection, and then he tosses him into the barricade. Back from break, Nakamura delivers several kicks to Escobar's head. Hits an enziguri, followed up by a right hand and an axe kick, which is one of his Nakamura's signature moves. Then he hits Escobar in the back with a kick, followed by a sliding German suplex. I love that sliding German suplex he does. The two men exchange forearms before Escobar targets the knee of Nakamura, which is great because, again, Nakamura hits the Kinshasa and take that out, kind of, taking out the Kinshasa, which is perfect. Nakamura hits a flying knee, obviously, but Escobar delivers a pair of kicks and overhead throw. Nakamura sets up for the Kinshasa, but Legado causes a distraction. This allows Escobar to roll up Nakamura. Nakamura kicks out. Uh, he levels, Nakamura levels Legado at ringside. And then it's into the top rope. Escobar Santos meets him there and hits the Phantom Driver from the middle rope, which is beautiful. Santos Escobar then is advancing to the quarterfinals to face whoever is in the quarterfinals. I'm assuming it's going to be either Butch or it's either going to be Butch and Sammy or Ali and Ricochet. So we'll figure that out. Next up, we had a video package honoring Veterans Day. Then we go back to ringside. Liv Morgan's going down the ring, followed by Raquel Gonzalez, Shotzi Blackheart, and Sonya Deville, Lacey Evans, and Xylee. This is to set up the number one contenders match to see who faces Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series. Before that, we had a backstage promo with LA Knight. LA Knight questions why he's not in the World Cup tournament before the television behind him starts flashing Bray Wyatt's logo. He turns around to see. He asks like Megan Morant, like, "What is that more? Is that more important and entertaining than I am, or whatever?" He turns around. He sees it, then turns back around. Bray Wyatt's right there. He said Wyatt starts talking about the rage that he sees brewing inside of him. Bray laughs maniacal, says that he's pretending not to be proud of the things he does. He says he does take it. He does know what it takes to earn respect, and asks Knight how far is he willing to go, and tells and so LA Knight responds with, "You should go back to your romper room, play with your little puppets, stick them anywhere that gives you pleasure. It's okay with me." And Bray Wyatt didn't take too kindly to that. Headbutts LA Knight into the forearms or something. But it looks like it's going to be LA Knight, Bray Wyatt, probably at Survivor Series, which is a good little first mini program for Bray. Get his feet wet back into the ring because he hasn't wrestled in over. He hasn't wrestled a match since WrestleMania last year, so I'm assuming it's going to be Bray and LA Knight at Survivor Series. Next up, we had Shotzi win a 6-pack challenge to become the number one contender for Ronda Rousey's Women's Championship at Survivor Series. This match was not very good, if I'm being honest. There was a miscommunication near the end of the match as Raquel was going to go for a powerbomb on, I believe it was Sonya Deville through a table, and Liv Morgan comes flying off like the barricade or the announce table, and she hits Raquel, but they missed the table that was right next to them completely, and they were out for the rest of the match. Shotzi Blackheart comes and hits a looks like be like one of the rampage that Saraya uses, and hits the DDT for the win, and she's going to go on to face Shotzi for the title at Survivor Series. Again, not that great of a match, but Shotzi getting a title match at a pay-per-view, I'm fine with that. It's just just to get Rousey through Survivor Series and then getting her into the Royal Rumble, which I'm assuming is going to be her and Shayna pay-per-view at the Royal Rumble, which is going to then lead to Ronda and Becky at WrestleMania. Then we go to backstage with Shotzi, who runs into Emma, congratulates her on her win. Emma asks where has she seen Madcap Moss, because if you don't know, those two are in a relationship. So I guess they're gonna pair them on screen together. Why not? I mean, if you want to do something with Madcap Moss, just pair him with Emma and see what they do there. I'm fine with that. Shotzi teases her crushing for him, like I just mentioned, because they're an actual couple. As Emma walks off, Shayna Baszler walks up behind her. Baszler tells her to enjoy her moment in the spotlight before Ronda Rousey gives her a beating of the life, gives her the beating of Shotzi's life. Shotzi says that Ronda has never been in the ring with someone like her. Baszler says she has a lot to say to Ronda Rousey. Tells Ronda to look behind her, or tells Shotzi to look behind her. Ronda's right behind her. Then Baszler grabs her from behind and the careful to clutch and chokes Shotzi out. And it was also set up for next week. It's going to be Shotzi versus Shayna Baszler. Which is kind of interesting because Shayna Baszler's last match on the main roster was against Shotzi Blackheart, which I thought was very funny. Or not very funny, it's very interesting. Boom. Then we hear Kayla Braxton and Ricochet. Kayla asks Ricochet about his first round matchup in the World Cup tournament against Ali. Ricochet says it's a chance for him to get back what is his, the Intercontinental title. Imperium walks in and Gunther tells him to fight with all his heart so he can beat him again. Talking about Ricochet. Next up, we had a crowd jewel video package for the match no one wants to talk about, Omos and Braun Strowman. And next up, Braun Strowman beat Jinder Mahal first round World Cup tournament. That's all I have to say about that. Fuck Braun Strowman. Let's move on. Next up was supposed to be B-Fab versus Selena Vega. That never took place because the Viking Raiders come out and just beat the ever-living shit out of Hit Row and Legado del Fantasma. At one point, we see Sarah Logan is stalking Selena Vega. Selena Vega runs out of there. As the rest of Viking Raiders are just beating the ever-living shit out of Hit Row, and they're beating the shit out of Hit Row and Legado. Sarah Logan hits a nasty headbutt on B-Fab. Sarah Logan looks great. Good for her that she's back. I don't know why this took forever to put these three together. This pairing should have happened years ago, when she was still with the company. I don't know why it took us this long to get here. Especially after the whole Riot Squad thing ended. You should have just put her with with the Viking Raiders. So, but she is, but we'll see what happens there. The packaging and the way they look, the presentation looks great. We'll see where it goes the next coming weeks. Main event segment: Roman Reigns honors the Usos. They're coming out here. Roman tells Indianapolis they acknowledge him. Then Heyman says this is about the greatest sports rivalries in history. Says that the New Day never stood a chance at defeating the Usos. He says everyone who challenges Roman Reigns ends up failing. Reigns says everyone has acknowledged him for all his greatness, but not his cousins. And it's like, whoa, all that. A lot of people are like, what? Brawling Brutes music hits. Here comes Butch and Ridge Holland. They come down to the ring. Ridge says that they're sick of the numbers advantage between and the number games with the Bloodline. Says they brought back up Sheamus as a music hit. He's coming back from his from getting married and having his honeymoon hiatus. Sheamus's mic starts cutting out as he's trying to talk, but Sheamus goes to the ring and starts wanting to beat the shit out of Roman and the Bloodline. The Bloodline's out. The Brawling Brutes are outnumbered. Out comes Drew McIntyre to even the odds a little bit. So announced it's 4 on 4 to even the odds. And while the show is going up there, this whole entire brawl is going on. So it looks like it's going to be, like I've been saying for weeks, it looks like it's going to be Drew McIntyre. So it looks like it's going to be it looks like it's going to be the Bloodline, which is Roman Reigns, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn versus Brawling Brutes, which is Sheamus, Rich Holland, and Butch, teaming with Drew McIntyre, and who I think is going to be the fifth guy, Kevin Owens, at the Survivor Series in WarGames. That is the only. That's the only team that should be only the fifth man there. It just makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. I like it. Um, I'm excited for WarGames. WarGames is going to be great. I'm excited for that. Bobby Roode could be heading back to SmackDown in a couple of weeks. Who was out dealing with some type of injury. EW Insider first reported that I believe it was yesterday that there are rumored plans in place that if whenever Brew comes back, he will be headed to SmackDown, which is great. I hope once he comes back, it's not main roster Vince McMahon, Bobby Roode, smiling like a fucking idiot, Bobby Roode. I hope it's glorious NXT champion Bobby Roode, the cocky dick heel from NXT. I'm assuming I think that's what we're gonna get. So Bobby Roode was backstage tonight, but he was not used on the show. But it looks like he is going to be on SmackDown going forward, and that's good. I think Bobby Roode eventually will get. He would be a great Intercontinental champion, but we'll see what happens with that there. So yeah, that was SmackDown. SmackDown, decent episode, not the greatest, but it was better than Raw. I can tell you that. Better than whatever the fuck they did at the end of that show. I much enjoyed the ending of this show than I did the ending of Raw. Because not a lot of things on Raw didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, maybe the WarGames match did, but the setup for the women's WarGames match made all the sense in the world. But nothing else on that show, in my opinion, did make sense. But, well, except the medium thing, that also did make sense, though. On this show, obviously, a lot of things make sense. We are setting up the men's WarGames match with Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre possibly with Kevin Owens, which seems like the right call. The Viking Raiders come back. They look strong here. Santos Escobar being built up is a great idea. I'm okay with LA Knight and Bray Wyatt as a mini program for Survivor Series. Great to see Sheamus back. That's all great and great stuff to see. If you like what you've seen here, again, do the subscriptions, do the liking and the commenting and the following on the social medias, all that stuff is going to be in the description down below. Next week I'll be back here for Monday Night Raw, and I will be back to doing Dynamite. Sorry I didn't get to do Dynamite this past Wednesday. Was not feeling up to it. The show was not bad. Was not feeling up to it at all. But I will be doing that. I will be doing Dynamite next week. I also will be doing predictions for two shows. I'll do predictions for one show and then as two shows and together, which will be the Full Gear, obviously, and then we got the New Japan Stardom Start crossover, which I believe I do remember telling you guys that Kairi Hojo and Mayu Iwatani will be main eventing that show for the IWGP Women's Championship, which will be the first time it's actually the first time in history that a women's match will be closing a New Japan event. So, but that is next week. That's next week. But until then, I've been Matt the Misfit. You are my Misfit Nation. I will see you guys for Monday Night Raw. Until then, we're out.